Hello everybody, I'm Mads and welcome to my channel, Mads' Reading. Today I'm going to be doing a little book haul and a book unhaul, which is definitely something I never thought I'd actually do. I always thought, oh, I'm going to keep all my books forever, I'm never going to do an unhaul, but that's just kind of unrealistic. Some of these I have no need for, I'll never read them, and some of them I've just kind of grown out of or are part of a series that I don't own all of them and I don't really care to buy all of them. So I'm gonna be getting rid of a couple of books. So this is exciting. So I'll be going through the books that I bought yesterday, some books I'm unhauling, and books that I'm very close to unhauling but aren't yet for whatever reason. And maybe you can encourage me to either keep it and read it or to actually get rid of it. So let's get started. So yesterday I broke my book buying ban. I put myself on one because I really don't have money to be buying books right now. But luckily I did have some cash from selling a couple of clothes that I had because I needed to get rid of them. So I went to Second and Charles yesterday, which is my all-time favorite bookstore, and I got a couple of books. And I am amazing at finding as many books as possible for the best price that I can. So I only paid $33 for this stack and I'm pretty proud of myself for that. But first off, we have Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen, and this book just looks really good. I feel like it might have a found family trope in it. It just looks really cute. I've heard amazing things about it. The aesthetics I've seen for this book are just so good, and I honestly can't wait to read this. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get to it, but I am looking forward to it. And I do think it has a sequel, so that's also really fun. I actually only ended up paying $4 for it. I think it's used, but it's in really great condition and I'm so happy. It's about these students whose lives all crash together and it creates a summer they'll never forget. So maybe I should read it this summer if it's gonna be a fun summer read, but we shall see. I'm very excited for this. Please let me know if you have read it and encourage me to read it sooner. Next up, we have a book that has been recommended to me by many people, and I saw it. It was only $4, so I just had to get it, and that is Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I'm pretty sure this book is about these two school rivals who kind of grow to fall in love. I think it's a rivals to lovers, and I'm pretty sure it follows different timelines. Maybe not. I'm really not entirely sure, but I have heard amazing things, and so many people love this book that I just had to get it. It's also on a list I created called Rex from Moots, where I just took all the recommendations that my friends on Twitter have offered me and just put it into one big list. This is on it, so I just had to get it. This next book, I was literally about to leave the store when the spine caught my eye and I just impulse bought it. I got it for like $5, so I'm not complaining because look at this spine. It is Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. I've never heard of this book before, but I also love going to bookstores and finding these little hidden gems, so I'm really looking forward to this. I'm a little bit confused about what it is about, but it is a space adventure, it is YA, and it just looks so good. I think there might be a found family trope in it just from reading the synopsis, because on the back it has these like four characters, and I feel like when a book has that, it's kind of hinting at a found family trope. So I'm getting ready for it. We shall see where this goes. The last book I bought, I saw right as I entered the store, and I knew I just had to get it because I've wanted this book forever, and I can now take it off my Amazon wishlist, and that is The Sunbearer Trials by Aiden Thomas. I remember seeing this book before it came out, and I really wanted to pre-order it, but for some reason I didn't, and now I finally have it. I loved Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. Honestly, one of my favorite books. And I heard that this one kind of has like Percy Jackson vibes, which I adore. So I genuinely can't wait to read this book. I will probably read it fairly soon too, at least before the end of the year. And it has little like cover art on it, even if it is just small. I love it because Cemetery Boys has it too. It's just honestly stunning. And it just sounds so good. There's a little quote in the cover that says, "Only the most powerful and honorable semidioses get chosen. I'm just a jade, I'm not a real hero." So I'm feeling a little bit of a reluctant chosen one here, or a reluctant hero, which I adore, so I think everything about this is going to be perfect. Honestly, the most expensive book from my trip because it's new and not used, but I don't care. It was worth it. Honestly, this is probably the whole reason I broke my book buying ban. So, okay, now for the main purpose of this video is my little unhaul. I came home yesterday with my new books and I thought it was time to get rid of a couple, make up some more room, and just kind of declutter a little bit. There's not that many, but there is a nice pile, so I'm gonna get started. First off, we have The Book Thief. I haven't read this book yet, and I really do want to, but I accidentally bought two copies. So that was my bad. I didn't mean to, I just completely forgot that I had it at home. I spent so long looking for it at used bookstores because I really do want to read it. And I managed to buy two. So I'm gonna get rid of this one since it's the movie cover, and I have the like original cover. I think it's the original cover over on my other shelf. So I'm gonna keep that one. Now, I also want to do a little project next year with my room and do one of those book page walls. So I might use this book for that just because I want to. And I really do want to create one of those book page walls, so I think it would be a good book to use for that, even if it will hurt me to tear out the pages, but I must overcome that. Anyways, next up we have The Drifters by James A. Michner. I don't think that's how you pronounce it. I got this book for like $1. It was being sold at my library, and I don't know, it was kind of an impulse buy. I just don't think I'm ever gonna read it. I feel like it gives The Outsider vibes, but if I end up reading it, I know I'll just be like forcing my way through it. So I'm not gonna do that to myself, and I'm just gonna get rid of it. So, goodbye. Next, I have the unofficial Harry Potter cookbook. I don't think I need to explain this. I'm not really going to use it. I feel like I don't need a cookbook. I have the internet. And if I want to create a fun Harry Potter meal, I'll find one on the internet. But I got it for Christmas, so I think that's why I haven't gotten rid of it. I just don't see a point in it anymore. I had this whole shelf of Harry Potter books. I have like this book, and I have the Fantastic Beasts behind the scenes book, and the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them big picture book. So that, along with all of my Harry Potter books, it was just like a Harry Potter shrine. And I need to get rid of some of these because there's no reason to have that. Anyways, next up we have another Harry Potter book, which I also got for like $1, and that is the Lexicon. I think it just goes through all of the words in Harry Potter. I don't know why I bought this. Also, it's just kind of like gross because it was from a library or something. I don't know. I'm getting rid of it. And we also have Everybody Knows Your Name by Andrea Siegel and Brent Bradshaw. I got this book at Second and Charles, and it was one of those mystery book dates because I really wanted to try one, and like the description for the book date seemed really good. I don't think I'm ever gonna read this. It seems cute and fun, and maybe I could enjoy it, but I feel like there are a lot of other books that I would rather read than this, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. There's no need to keep it around anymore. I hope I'm not missing out on something amazing by getting rid of this. I also have The Thousandth Floor by Katherine McGee. I've read this entire series and I only own the first book. And I also did not love this series. I don't know. There were a couple things in it that really irked me, especially the kind of main couple in it was very weird, and I just don't see a reason to keep it anymore. It's kind of like a futuristic Gossip Girl that takes place in this building with 1,000 floors. It has a lot of like the elite rich society as well as these kind of lower class people getting thrown into the society. It is kind of a fun world, but I just didn't love it, and I'm not going to get the rest of the series, so I don't see a reason in keeping it around any longer. I also have The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. I never finished this series. I honestly doubt I'm gonna get around to finishing this series, but I do remember I did love this book. I actually got it for free from my library during a summer reading program that my library does every summer, and that was the whole reason I ended up reading it. I am very glad that I read it, and I did love it when I read it, but I don't have the rest of the series, and I just don't see a reason to keep it. I, however, might use it for my book page wall because I don't think a store is gonna take it because there's a sticker in it that I can't get out, and it has like the congratulations for finishing the summer reading program. So I honestly might just use the pages for it, and it would also be kind of fun to use pages from a book that I read and loved, especially one that is a YA dystopian because I love those, so I might use that. Another book that is in a series I don't own the rest of is The Death Cure by James Dashner. I do love the Maze Runner series, and I think it is wonderfully written. I do think it could have been written a little bit better, but that's just me. I don't have the rest of the series, and I don't think I'm gonna end up getting the rest of the series. I feel like I have other books that I would prioritize buying, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. It's kind of lonely, and it is the last book in this series that I have, so there's no point. There's no point anymore. I might use the pages, might not. We'll see. Next up are these are heavy. Why are these pages so dense? Anyways, next up we have the Twisted Tale books. I genuinely don't think I'm gonna end up reading the rest of them. I read A Whole New World and loved it, but I was also fairly young when I read it, and I just don't think it's gonna hit the same anymore. So I think I'm just gonna get rid of them. I feel like there are other better fairy tale retellings out there than these ones. I just don't see a reason to keep them, and I don't think I'm gonna get around to reading the other two, even if it is two of my favorite fairy tales. Though the premise of these books are amazing. I love how they do it with like a twist in them, and I do think it is really fun. But I just don't think they're for me anymore, and there's no shame in that. Maybe I'll use the pages. No, I should probably just sell them. I can make money off these, so I'm just gonna sell them. Next up are books that I'm really tempted to unhaul, but something is holding me back. So maybe you can convince me to get rid of them. Maybe you'll convince me to keep them and read them. We'll see. Starting off is a book that I really kind of don't want to unhaul, but also there isn't a point to keeping, and that is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. As you all know, I adored this book, genuinely one of my favorites, and I love Casey McQuiston. However, I have two copies of this. One of them is one that Elsa sent me. Yes, name drop again. Also sent me One Last Stop fully annotated and gorgeous, and this is the copy that I bought for myself before that. So I'm tempted to get rid of it because why keep two copies? However, I love this book, and that's my entire reasoning to keeping it. So I think I'm just gonna keep it. Now, there's another book that I won from the library that I kind of started to read, but I could not get into, and that is Furyborn by Claire Legend. I've heard a couple people talking this book up, and so maybe I missed something. Maybe I didn't get far enough into it. I only got past like the first chapter, maybe, but I couldn't get into it. Maybe it's amazing. Please, if you love this book, convince me to read it and keep it because it's just been on my shelf untouched for years. I've had this since 2019 and it's just not going anywhere. So I'm really tempted to get rid of it because I don't see myself reading it. However, I might. And so that makes me want to keep it. It's complicated. Next up, I have Matched and Crossed by Ali Condi. I remember reading the first book, and I honestly really liked the first book when I read it. However, I ended up DNFing the second one, thinking, oh, I'll come back to it later. I did not. So, I have to figure out what to do now with these two books because I bought Crossed thinking, oh, this will get me to read it and finish the series, but I don't think it will. And I genuinely don't know if I'm gonna ever end up finishing the series because there are other books I could be reading that I would like more. And it's not that well hyped, so there's really no reason for me to read it other than the fact that I am stubborn. And I started it and I want to finish it. I don't know if I will, and I don't know if I would like it as much now as I did when I was in like 6th grade. So, it's also a YA dystopian, which hurts me to get rid of. And it's a classic YA dystopian too. It's kind of one of the iconic ones. but I just don't know if I want to keep it. So either convince me to get rid of it or convince me to keep it. Now, next up is a book that I never really heard of until I won it from the library. A lot of these are books that I got from the library. Huh. I guess that's what happens when you get a free book and there are limited options. You don't always keep them. Anyways, I have The Loop by Ben Oliver. It seems interesting. I will say that. It does seem really interesting. I do know the selection the year I got this was not that great. The only other book that I would actually read was one I already owned. So I just got this one. I think it was last year actually that I got this one. And I just don't know if I'm ever actually gonna read it. It does seem interesting, and it could end up being really good. I've heard nothing about it. I just don't see a reason to read it. The premise is pretty good, but not good enough for me to be like, I want to read it. So I'm tempted to get rid of it, but I don't know. So we'll see. Maybe I'll look into it a little bit more. I also have a book that I have read before, and that is Everything Everything by Nicole Yoon. Actually, I'm gonna keep this one. I decided. Next up, we have a full series that I own that I have read each book of, and that is the To All the Boys I've Left Before series. I did not love this series, and for that reason, I'm tempted to get rid of it. However, it is a complete series that I own, and I can use it for pictures, and it is a very well-known series, so that makes me want to keep it. But I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I think I'm gonna end up keeping it, but I read all of them and I didn't love them. I guess if I had to get rid of books on my shelves, they would go, but I might just keep them until that happens. Who knows? Next, we have Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I have heard really good things about this. I've also heard kind of bad things about this. Kind of a hyped book. I just don't know if I would like it. I got it at a used bookstore for $5, so that made me get it because I am a sucker for cheap books. But I just don't know if I'm ever actually gonna read it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I think I'm gonna end up keeping it only because there's a chance I might read it. But I'm also kind of tempted to unhaul it. I don't know. Unhauling is very hard work. I've learned this today. All in all, I got 4 books and I'm getting rid of 11 books, which is more than I ever thought I would get rid of. So, go me! Very proud of myself. 3 of the books I might end up using to make a book page wall in my new apartment next year. So we'll see if that book wall ever actually comes into fruition. Maybe it won't, maybe it will. If it does, I have the books to use for it, even if it will pain me. But this has been very successful. Very proud of myself. What can I say? I'm pretty amazing that way. I apologize for not having a video up last week, and I hope this video makes up for it. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe below, and I will see you all next week. Bye.